Okay, looks like we are now live. That looks good. Hello everybody, welcome to OccupySFTV. Do a little light adjustment here. Maybe. I'm just going to have to deal with the glare. So, we are now live. This is a quick test run to make sure everything is set up right. We will be discussing some things tonight, such as prison system. My friend Rick that'll be joining us wants to talk about guns or gun control, or you know what I mean. Then there's also a featured story that I'd like to present to you, something to look at. It's a 15-minute YouTube clip about the police, New York Police Department, and how their protect and serve policy is not really, it's a policy. They don't follow the law, they do what they want, right? Wrong. They're supposed to serve us, and they're not doing that. We also have the military issues that we could talk about. I do have the chat line open on the social stream. I'll be checking that. If you have anything you'd like to question or throw in as a topic, I'd love to hear from you. You can also get a hold of me at OccupyOneLiberty at Gmail. There's also the Twitter up there on your screen, as you can see, and independentcitizenmedia.weebly.com is my website. Feel free to join the forum and check it out. Old stories, news stories. I also have OccupySFTV on YouTube. Additionally, I want to mention some friends of mine real quick while I'm waiting for the rest of the crew to come in and make an appearance. I told them we were running a little late and I better get this started. So I want to thank Ann Smith and Revolution News. There's also Mike Zint at Occupy San Francisco, Punkboy NSF, Occupy Carlisle on Twitter, Courtney Occupy, PFL Blog. You guys are all soldiers in the movement, and I salute you. Solidarity. Thank you for all of the news reports that I've been catching on your feeds. I try to share everything as much as I possibly can. The other night I did catch, there was Occupy News Network was doing a broadcast, and they had a stream from it was near Jerusalem, I believe, in Pakistan, or sorry, not Pakistan, Palestine, and the guys were doing an interview in English. So if you want to see what's going on the other side of the world and you're not watching that Fox News network, you can talk to some live people. I'll get you the link for that here. Remind me if I don't get that for you. I have it in my archive, which I'm not quite set up for. Wanted to get this stream started so we could get some people coming in and maybe throw up some topics if there's something you want to talk about. But that's the quick intro on what I've got going right now. And want to also mention that here in the Firewall community, I'm staying at one of the locations right now to do this broadcast. The Firewall community is a collective, an organization of people that works together to help, I like to say, better the world. They're helping people that need help, regardless of whether they're family or not, and help them get going, get on their feet, find some work. There's also gardening going on. Yes, it's February. They've already got the gardening planned out and started. I've been helping them with that. A little plot. It's not a whole lot, but it's better than nothing. So we'll probably talk about GMOs later tonight as well, with the reasons for why we're gardening. And locally here, there's what I would call a tainted water supply, poisoned, similar to the Aaron Brockovich story, where there's chromium-6 and arsenic in the water supply. This is from manufacturers, just dumping their toxins in the rivers and the water supply. Not to mention, we could also go into fracking. So that's another topic that we could talk about. And I did see a recent Facebook post where the fracking is going on and where the water tables are. Very interesting how that is very similar. You don't want to be fracking where the water is, and that's what's going on. So poisoning of the water supply, poisoning of the air. How can you make money off of water and air if the water and the air that are naturally coming out for people to drink and breathe become tainted and poisoned? Then it becomes a commodity. Therefore, they can put it on the stock exchange. See where I'm going with this? Okay. I've done enough babbling here at the beginning. I'm going to check the social stream here and see what's going on in the chat room. I do see Rise PDX in there checking in. Peace, Rise. Send out a salutations and salute to you too, brother. We got a whole lot of stuff to get to. Normally I'd like to try to do a hour show. The last one was 3 hours in 3 segments, which I think is something that will be more often. Something that I'll be doing is starting on a topic, moving along to another topic, coming back, checking the chat room. I think that the more time on the air, the opportunity for you to tweet out that I'm live, that there's people here in this community that will be talking. They are locals, so they do know more about the area, politics around here than I do. And that's one of the reasons why I came here, is because the only way to do independent citizen reporting is to get there and do it. And I heard about this place, Firewall Community in the Oklahoma City area. From what I heard about it, I thought it was a great thing, and I had to get there, so here I am. And the people here are great. I've had a great time. Trust me, I'm not working, making any money. I'm doing this for you so that you can share this, what we're doing here, and the information that I can help share to you. Maybe you don't see it on your Facebook posts and stuff, which is what I'll be going back through, where I get a lot of my information. I do get it from Punk Boy and SF. I get it from Tim Pool. I get it from PFL Blog, Revolution News, Occupy Wall Street, Occupy San Francisco, my good friend Mike Zint, Bell Star in San Francisco. There's a whole bunch of people out there. As I started the movement in San Francisco, that's where I get a lot of my information through the Occupy movement. And thank God for independent citizen journalists, because just the waking up that I did in the last 20 years and with the revolution, I think that this is a wonderful thing. I think maybe if we can continue to spread the word, so you have to talk to people. Those of you that are watching have to talk to people individually. I do this on a daily basis. I talk to people in gas stations. I talk to them in supermarkets. Anywhere I go, I try to mention, do you know about World Trade Center 7? Have you heard of Zeitgeist? Do you know Thrive? Do you know about Occupy Wall Street? There's an amazing number of people that don't know about Occupy Wall Street. Or Building 7, World Trade Center 7. So, keep doing what you're doing. Tune in, turn it up, share it. Also check out my Facebook page, which is in collaboration with some other people. We can get them everything all organized. It's Occupy The Odyssey on Facebook. You can also find me, James Cartmill, on Facebook. I'm not afraid to die for the revolution. I'm here for the cause. I'm here for the people. So what I have to say on my Facebook page is pretty much reality. It's the news. It's everything I'm sharing from the people I've already mentioned. Also, I do share it on Occupy The Odyssey and independencitizenmedia.weebly.com. So there's a variety of places you can find stuff depending on what kind of activities I'm doing, because the Odyssey is a collaborative effort. It's based on documenting community, and Independent Citizen Media is a website for journalism, to share journalists. If you have something you want to put on there, a link you want to have put on there, feel free to email me. I'd love to put something up there if you need something embedded. I'm not charging anything for it. I just want to help share the information. So, I think that pretty much does a brief introduction. Hey, Rick, how you doing?
Doing all right.
Just heard you come in, and I've been just kind of rambling on about some tonight's topics and stuff. Blah blah blah. We can go review it later. But I know you wanted to talk about gun control. That was something we didn't quite get to fully expand on last time.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was wanting to talk about the mass shootings we've had.
The mass shootings, and some have been reported and some not.
Yeah, I mean, some of them haven't been reported at all.
Yeah, something about 107 kids killed in, where was that? In Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
High gun control area, city, and 107 kids killed in January. And it's the first time I heard about it. Any deaths in Chicago, really? I mean, we don't live there.
Yeah, so
we're far from it, but
we don't really deal with the things that are going on there. But that's really one of the country's murder capitals of the world, and that's also where
it has been off and on.
Obama's from. I mean, a man. What was that? Amin Romuald? Can't remember what his name is. The guy that Obama put into charge, and then later on he went back to the private sector, and then he went back to politics.
The floating back and forth, yeah. What do you think? Like, as far as the gun control and the way that the mass shootings, do you think that the populace is believing it or giving up guns? Because you see the things that where people are turning in their guns for $200 a weapon.
Well,
and then is that hype or?
I really hate to be sexist, but what they do is they try to prey on the women because they know that they do not like guns in the house anyway. So they're like, well, your kids are out here and this is what's happening.
Well, there's no sexism here. It's all honesty. You know, I mean,
yeah.
If you say what's on your mind. So I think you're probably right.
And well, that's what they try to do. They get the ladies at the house, you know, well, let's turn in your guns, you know, because that's not something you should have. As an American citizen, you should be disarmed.
Well, that's kind of scary, though. I mean, you know, I know there's times in past history when all of the citizens were disarmed, and you know, you look at a lot of those leaders. I mean, we can name the number one, Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
What did he do? Oh my God! You know, so
he disarmed, and then he made it to where you can't smoke in public. And
well, I mean, it was full dictatorship, and people had no choices, and it was, I mean, how did the war economy work for them?
Well, it grew their economy like it usually does. I mean, war always does. It always boosts your economy, but the thing is, you're sending out millions of people to die.
Well, we've been at war for 10 years.
Yeah.
Or more. Well, more. Well, we've been at war for almost 200 years, but
yeah,
that's a different topic for now. But, as far as the guns go, what did you really? I mean, I could ask you questions, but I think that you should probably lead this discussion
on the guns.
Yeah,
I mean,
you know, it was your topic, your idea, and I could go off on my rants and raves, and it's good to hear a different opinion because I know that the people have already heard my opinions.
Yeah.
And a lot of them know my opinions. I mean, I'd be glad to go over them again, but I definitely think that you should, you know, pull up whatever you have there and go for it, because I'll sit here and listen to what you have to say, and, you know, I think we'll have a good discussion going once. We do have 12 viewers, and I'm glad to see that.
That's awesome.
Hopefully we're being rebroadcast, and hopefully you guys tweet this out, what we're going to be talking about, because it's going to get intense here. This is a no bullshit TV, and by the way, free Bradley Manning.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you should not be imprisoned for blowing the whistle on something that's corrupt.
Right. Absolutely not.
You should not. I mean, that's your First Amendment right.
Well, you know, when you sign that contract with the military, though, that's a contract.
That's true.
So, but the thing is he is receiving, as an American citizen, and as a soldier, cruel and unusual treatment.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean, under the Geneva Convention, it wouldn't hold water.
No, and the government's doing a lot of things, brainwashing people, so that they can get away with this kind of thing that they're already doing. You know, I mean, when people say, "Oh well, they wouldn't do that," or "That's in the movies," that's part of the brainwashing technique.
The movies are out there to brainwash you. They're out there to tell you, well, this is okay because the government comes in and they save the day.
Well, yeah, I mean, we know that the trade towers were brought down, and we know we could go through and look them up. There's countless number of movies that have that type of scenario played out, and in reality, planes have hit big buildings like that. Back in World War II, there was a plane that hit the Empire State Building, and it didn't burn and fall down to the ground, and that was a war plane. I believe it was full of fuel as well. I could be wrong, but it had fuel in it. It crashed into the building, and it didn't burn and fall to the ground. And back then, that building was built even longer ago, and it was just as big of a plane for the most part.
Well, the thing is, World War II altogether is kind of a sham. The thing about that is, you have the Treaty of Versailles, and it was semi in part written by the Rothschilds.
Oh, we can go into the Rothschilds later, but
yeah.
So it was written by them.
Yeah. So pretty much what happened is they wanted to collapse the German economics after World War I, and I mean, it's kind of understandably so because you have the Austrian Empire there, and then you have the German Empire that's kind of like, well, we're in ties with the Austrian Empire that's about to fall after World War I, but we're really just trying to defend the homeland is what they're all about. And so you have France and Great Britain, and you have the Rothschilds, and you have the people that run the banks of that time that writ out this accord pretty much that ensured that World War II would happen.
Right.
And there was an economist at the time, Keynes, I think. Keynes, however you want to say that.
German?
He was actually British.
Oh.
He said that this accord will ensure that there is a second world war. And if you look back further, it was the U.S. that opened up Japan to the world, because before that time, Japan was very isolated because they had Christian missionaries that had came into the state previously, and they had pretty much changed the whole political economic system of the time in Japan.
Okay.
So the emperor kicked them all out and says, hey, we're closing our borders, we're doing what we always have done, we believe in Shintoism, we believe in Buddhism, we believe in Taoism, we've taken all these things from China and also incorporated it into our own beliefs. So then Japan closed the door, and we came in around 1860s or so, and we had a guy that was a head of our Navy that came in and said, we're going to open up the jewel that is Japan. So then you have economic and political means after that to open up Japan to the world, and we were basically entrenching upon what they had going with trade.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what created Pearl Harbor. That's the thing people don't understand. FDR was actually trying to create an environment to where we went against Japan and Germany and Italy.
Okay.
And really what that is the fact that Japan and Germany and Italy had taken their political thoughts too far. Eugenics. they had taken it too far and showed people too much of it that they were like, hey, let's stop this right now.
Well,
quell it.
Here, let me write that down. That's another topic, eugenics.
Oh,
because just that right there sparks it. So continue.
Yeah, I mean, eugenics is the whole idea that we need to reduce our world population, where our world population could sustain itself on a half-acre plot of land in half of Texas.
Wait a minute. Say that again?
Our whole world population could have a half-acre in Texas and fill up only half of Texas.
Our whole population
in the world.
That's how they want it. That's how it is. That's not how it is now. I mean, we got 7 billion people on the planet.
And they're
fit in Texas.
They're all spread out. But I mean, even if you go back, you could fit half the world's population in Australia, giving them a half-acre landmass for their family. That's a family of 4, I think it is.
Okay. Well, I mean, that sounds reasonable to me. I mean, everybody should have a place to go and stuff. But I thought eugenics was more like what Hitler was doing. It was a separation of class and intelligence. There would be like a worker class, a warrior class, a worker class, a warrior class, and then like like there's several different stepping stones to that, but the controllers would be at the top. Those would be, like, let's say Hitler or Obama, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. Those people would have the control, they have the knowledge, and the manipulation power through money, greed, which everybody wants more. You want to do better than you're doing. But I mean, when is too much? When is enough too much? Or,
well,
I mean, you know what I mean? Because me, I'm living right now on virtually nothing, and I'm extremely happy. I'm extremely healthy.
That's the human condition, though. When you gain this amount of power, like, well, this guy's making more than me, and he's getting this, and he has the $50 million mansion. Well, I need to get to that level. It's coveting. It's coveting.
Yes, it is, and that's sad. I mean,
it's exactly what the Bible would preach against. I mean,
absolutely.
Coveting one's neighbor.
Well,
what they have.
Yeah, and that's sad that there's been a history of humanity thinking that way, but now we have what I see a lot of people switching over. A lot of them are from either the hippie movement, parents from the hippie movement that, or their children, seeing that there's something better, love and, giving more than, you normally would, and giving to people that are in need. Somebody, not just giving to give, but giving to somebody that really needs it. I mean.
And that's the true measure of Christianity, giving to people that you might think is deserving of this, but they, in of themselves, they deserve what you're giving. It's not the fact that, well, they've done these things and they've done this, and it's a sin kind of meter. It's like it rises up, like having a child out of wedlock. It shouldn't matter.
No. Well, I think it's slowly but surely we're converting, where humanity is changing to, that. It's just, we are at that precipice now.
Mm-hmm.
Just like when, as the stories go, when Jesus was around, it became the age of Pisces. Now we're moving to the age of Aquarius, which I talked about on the last show briefly. But, with that much time, we do need to go through a change, and what we've gone through in the last 100 years has brought us to a point where we've exceeded that learning capability tenfold, 100-fold. So now we have the ability to think and reason that, or at least I do, that what we're doing, what we're letting happen from the corporations and those that have the manipulative money, control, power, however you say it, whether they're lobbyists, somebody that's corrupt in the government, somebody that's corrupt in the police force. People are changing to giving instead of taking, and looking towards the natural way of living. You know, growing their own food, living off the land, and kind of more native-like, Native American.
Yeah,
is
yeah.
what I mean. You know.
Well,
You know, I think it's fantastic. I love it. We're at the pinnacle of human society and technology. This is, somebody told me once, I was scared about it, and they said, you know, we're at a time when people for thousands of years have waited for, wanted to see, wish they could have been there, and here we are at it now. And I thought to myself, that's absolutely fascinating. That is so cool. Here we are, where we get to see what everybody else has been waiting for all those thousands of years. And believe it or not, we very likely will see it. The changing of humanity. And not that we will see it, that we are seeing it. I feel really good about it, even though I get depressed, you know, for the sadness of seeing all the deaths of the children by the drones, by the mass murders, you know, crazy people or mind-controlled people, however people want to see it, whatever's going on. You know, it really saddens me to see those things, but I'm really happy to see humanity making a step forward. You know, it's either that or we die.
Well, I mean, that's what we've been geared up towards doing for thousands of years. We've always wanted to take to the stars and put our place upon the heavens, and we've always wanted to make our mark upon this earth. And when you have a bunch of people that want to do that for the better good rather than individual wealth, or you have people that want to do that for individual countries, that's not a good thing. But when you have it for people that want to do it for humanity as a whole,
right,
that is a good thing.
Well, you know, and it's funny because some people talk about like, Foster Gamble for making the movie Thrive, and you know, he's a kind of a hypocrite, you know, sitting there in his nice blouse, silk shirt and stuff. You know, he's doing fine, and you know, I mean, if you're watching, we could use like $100,000 donation here at the Firewell. You know, they got a lot of good things going on here, and you wouldn't be donating it to me; you'd be donating it to the Firewell. You know, and there's other people like Vice President Gore, or ex once soon to be president, whatever. You know what I mean?
Whatever
that guy.
is. Yeah,
you know, and he's
Gore.
flying around trying to promote his little shindig, but he's flying around in a Learjet himself. You know, or maybe he's flying
jet.
first class. Okay, let's say he's just flying around in a jet first class, but he's flying and doing all these tours. Okay, yeah, so the plane's already going there, but you're promoting it. You're paying that plane to go there. I mean, couldn't you, with the kind of money that these people have, they could develop their own electrical vehicle that would be roadworthy, because they could just redesign a vehicle that's already there, put a motor in it with some solar panels on it, bam, it'll go not 200 miles, but you get some good solar panels, it'll probably go all day, and then a few hours into the night. You know,
that's the thing about Gore and all these people. They tell you everything you want to hear. They don't tell you what you don't want to hear. And the fact that they don't tell you that, I mean, Gore has made money off of oil fields. He has made money
and tobacco.
off of
his family made money off of tobacco.
Tobacco.
You know, well,
and the fact that he's going around telling people, oh, well, you need to reduce your carbon footprint on the world, but I don't have to. That's exactly...
That's a hypocrite.
That's the Illuminati. That's the people that deal in that. That's the people that, you know... Well, he also has an invested interest in the VAT tax, which is a taxation at every level of producing goods. You get taxed for taking the ore out of the earth. You get taxed for taking that ore, refining it into steel. You get taxed for taking that steel and working it into a tire iron, whatever you want to call it. I mean, a tool anything, and that's what he's invested in. If we go to a VAT tax like Europe has, which is a value-added tax, at every step you get taxed. If we go to that, Gore stands to make billions and trillions of dollars. They talk about billions of dollars, but really it's trillions of dollars, because you're talking about the World Bank, you're talking about IMF, you're talking
those numbers,
about...
Those, once you start talking over millions, those numbers don't mean anything to me, because those kinds of numbers are, like, I mean, at this point, they've become infinite, because
It's
like,
play money.
Like, for me, to even think $1 billion, I mean, like, some of those guys out there, they have billions. Give me $1 billion and see what I can do with it. I'll tell you what, we'd have a worldwide media team that would be all up in the grill of everybody and anybody that was some shyster fuck that needed to have a camera on them. And I'm not kidding. You know, you think the CIA is all up in your shit. Oh, did I say CIA? Oh, hold on. Wait, I'll spin the hat around. Anyway, yeah, inside joke. Never mind. Okay. You know, the paparazzi is nothing compared to, you know, the way that I would be doing it. I mean, you don't go sending a whole bunch of people, you know, to try to get information and film somebody what they're doing. No, man. You sit on a mountaintop with a lens like this big, and you shoot them from a mile away.
Well, you want to talk about paparazzi.
And I mean with a camera. When I say shoot them from a mile away, I'm talking with a camera.
Yeah,
right?
not actually shooting them.
Because I don't believe in violence unless it's for self-defense.
Well, you want to talk about paparazzi, you want to talk about all these things. That's a whole other area. That's
right.
Talking about our worship for celebrities here in this country.
Well, yeah. Okay, so bad analogy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm...
CIA, the paparazzi, they're always up in your grill.
That's actually what I wanted to talk about. The reason why we do these, you know, following celebrities, TMZ, things like that, that takes you away from your actual life that you're living. It's an escape mechanism.
Well, when these people are watching reality TV, you know, they don't have to worry about there are 10 murders in their next city over.
Chicago.
From whatever.
Chicago.
And, you know, they're living somebody else's life, and they're living, you know, the reality shows and those dumb cartoons. I mean, yeah, it's good for a giggle and stuff, but you don't need to see the show every night. You don't need to see it every Wednesday.
Oh,
Your
yeah.
life isn't a reality show.
My life is a reality. My life is a reality show. Thank you for tuning in.
Your life is a reality. And
Yeah.
right now it's a reality show.
Hi, Jen. Are you going to join us?
I'm just commentating from the side.
All right.
Well, I mean, this is what I'm talking about. People go through their lives and they see these sitcoms and they see these movies, and then they think, oh, well, I'm living out this role, you know. I'm this person. The guy's a stupid guy, and I'm the woman that comes in and saves, and I'm the guy that does this, and I'm the woman that's weak. You know, it's just gender role. It gets you ready for what society wants to make of you. It's not
Come
actually
on, Jen.
true.
You're standing right there. Come on in,
Okay,
because
well,
you're already on camera.
I do want to say, it doesn't make you a bad person for feeling this way. One time, my sister told me that she saw things through a music video, and that really made me think about the way that everybody sees things. And then I started viewing people, and it seemed like they were viewing things through their own reality show. Like they were just living their own reality show, and so they make all their decisions based on their own reality show. And you know, that's fun and everything, but that's not reality. And I think we've all learned that. You know, what was it called on
Jackass?
MTV? The first reality show, I think, probably, in America.
Real World?
In the United States,
Oh.
I mean.
The Real World? Is that?
Yeah, The Real World.
He said
that, Yeah, exactly. The Real World was basically the first reality show in the United States that I know of. And yeah, it was, it was interesting at first, but then it got out of control.
Well,
and then
all of them
the
are
Amazing
horrible
Race,
now.
that was
I
pretty
didn't
cool, but
With the Amazing Race, the Great
let's
Race, all
draw
those
the
things.
line. When we live our day-to-day lives, we're not in a reality show. We are in reality.
I think of my life as a reality show. I've been in avalanches, I've been in riots, I've been in a lot of different things. I've seen a lot of weird stuff.
Do you think it
So
makes
my
you
life to
change
me is
your
a real-
decisions, though? Like, as far as, like, what you would do?
Normally?
Like, if you, as opposed to you viewing yourself as being on camera at all times?
No, my life is my reality show for me. It entertains me. I don't...
It's your own reality show.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is a good thing.
Thank you.
I think that helps spur the energy and keep things going, exciting.
Well, I totally understand the film perspective because I've studied
Doing this.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
There's nothing
this
wrong
isn't
with
easy.
that.
Yeah, I know that. It's not easy.
But it's not hard either.
You can do it yourself if you really want to. You just have
I like to
do
show
it.
people how to do it. I mean, here, let's do a quick plug for one of my previous sponsors, Cerevo. You guys were asking me about this last time, if I was still using this thing. Yes, I am. I got it hard-lined in tonight instead of using Wi-Fi, which has a Wi-Fi device. Microphone hookup, hooks up to the camera, hooks up to the power supply. We're streaming until I say we're done.
Still going strong.
Yep, and as far as I can tell, the camera feed is still working. It hasn't cut off after 15 minutes. It hasn't cut off after half an hour. I think I fixed that problem. So, but we digressed quite a bit there, bounced around, and we were talking about the guns and gun control. Was there anything else you thought, would be important?
Well, the mass shootings is really what I want to talk about.
Okay.
I mean, they have these guys, and they give them 3 names, like... you have Lee Harvey Oswald. You have all these 3 named guys that come out.
3 named bandits?
Yeah, and it's always a lone gunman. I mean,
Oh,
really...
you mean like the movie theater shooting guy? I don't know his name because I don't care about these guys really. I mean...
Yeah, I mean...
They're puppets and pawns.
That guy that did the theater shootings in Colorado, he was... You could see clearly he was whacked out of his mind.
Well, some people have said mind control. Some people have said that, he's medication, and then...
Well, I've heard different things that, his mother had ties with the government. He had ties with the government. He had,
ties with people in banks or Wall Street, this, that. I mean, there's all these stories out there, what's true and what's not, and that's what the citizen journalism is about, is that real people trying to find out the real stories instead of somebody that gets paid $100,000 to tell you what they were told to tell you, not what the truth is.
Yeah, like Oberman and Pierce Morgan.
Any
and
of
all
those
these
prime
guys.
TV stations. I do this because I do it for the love of changing the world, because I think people deserve the real news, to talk to real people.
Yeah.
Not to hear some schmo that gets paid $500,000 a year to just sit in front of a camera at an anchor position, and he went to school for broadcast journalism. What the fuck is
And they're
that?
paid by GE and Westinghouse to say what they...
They're paid by the people that are doing the commercials.
Oh yeah. By the way, Reagan was a spokesman for GE.
Yeah, well...
It's not new. It's not anything new.
The thing is how do we convince the 8 to 12 to 15, 20 viewers that I normally have, go out and convince people to start watching this show more often and discussing these things with each other, with people you don't know? Because, I think that if you take just 30 seconds to try to find out where somebody's coming from, or maybe plant a seed in their head what could be wrong with the situation, or what we could do to change the world, or tell them how you're doing it, what you're doing to change the world, give them an idea, and continue to do it daily, more than once a day.
Well, the thing you always have to remember with the Founding Fathers, they were saying, think for yourself. Don't think what we tell you. You know?
Think for yourself, people.
Go find out this information.
And, you know, and I'm thinking for myself, and the reason I'm telling the viewers is because I know that they'll go out, they'll share this information, because most of my viewers are loyal, dedicated viewers. I want to thank you guys for tuning in again. Please, you know, I think that a lot more people would be interested, so if you have that social communication to tell people to check out, you know, the websites that I have mentioned, I can list them again for you. You can always find them. One links to another, links to another. So if you find the Facebook, it'll link you to the website. It'll link you to the firewall website. It'll link you. Once you start connecting to what I'm doing, it'll connect you to all the projects that I'm involved in and all the other people that are involved in those projects.
Yeah, and it's really about networking. It's really about people letting the message get heard, and the more that it spreads...
That's why I keep doing this, because it is the networking, word of mouth.
Yeah, and that's what I've always been interested in, but I didn't really know how to do. And
I don't know how to do it.
I mean, you're reaching more people than I am, so that's... Well, I go on Yahoo and I tell the people that's on the CIA agenda website that Yahoo is.
Yahoo?
Yeah, it's CIA, just like Google. Please remember that. But it's... Yeah, I really see that as the front lines, going to these people's websites that uphold the establishment, that tell people it's okay, just accept what the government does to you at all times. You're crazy for not questioning it. Just go along with the agenda, because that's what's the status quo.
Well.
And I mean, I've been looking up a lot of Jefferson quotes, because...
Thomas?
Yeah, Thomas Jefferson, because a lot of the times you'll hear about, you know, well, this is the party of Jefferson, the Republican Party. This is what Jefferson started. No, these people are neocons. They believe in the PNAC document, and if you haven't read the PNAC document, please read it, because it's really important to know that these people set in an agenda that's been followed to this day about 10 to 20 years before the time that it was set into place.
Esoteric agenda?
Esoteric agenda. That goes back thousands of years. If you look at the Merovingian dynasties and all these things, excluding the Tom Hanks movies, if you really go into the Illuminati and all that sort of thing, you can see it has a connection. Maybe it's not as, you know, connected as they'd like you to believe, because, I mean, all these people are trying to get out their information as entertainment as well. They want to reach the mass, and the important thing is that you reach the masses. That's the really important thing to everyone, you know, on both sides of the aisle. Even if you want to have that aisle. I don't believe in the left-right paradigm myself, but it helps other people. It's a guideline.
Well,
the thing that Jefferson was talking about, I digressed from. The East India Trading Company is really big in Britain at that time. But Jefferson saw the fact that corporations could take over the country easily. And this is one of his quotes. It is an internet quote, so you'll have to double check it and make sure that it's sourced correctly and all this. But the quotation is, "The end of democracy and the defeat of the American Revolution will occur when government falls into the hands of lending institutions and moneyed in corporations." Talking about corporations. And that's what we have now, is a corporatocracy. It's not a democracy, it's not a republic, and there for a while they were trying to sell you on the fact that this is just a straight republic, which it's not. It was founded on democracy and republicanism. So when you see that there, you understand how easily it is to take over the government. With money, their form of power.
Yeah, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, those things were written for us to govern our government by.
Yeah, I mean,
for them to adhere to.
That's what people
for us to enforce them to adhere to, which
that's what people fail to realize. They think our government has to. Supporting our government is patriotism, which it's not. Supporting the way of life that our country is built upon is patriotism. And I know the Founding Fathers, again, they were, not the greatest people on earth. They were flawed, certainly, but they had a lot of great ideas that if we held them to our ideals in this country, that would be a great way to go. I mean,
sorry, I'm trying to multitask.
No, you're fine.
I'm
You're
listening
fine.
to you.
You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of changes that we definitely need to make, and I appreciate you coming on and discussing things like this because, I certainly don't know it all, and I see Odessa's joined us. Did you have something you wanted to?
Center stage.
To jump in and say, or you don't have to leave.
No, you're fine.
Everyone's like,
Go ahead, have a seat.
I wasn't. I came in the middle of the conversation, so.
All right. Quick introduction. This is Odessa. She's part of the Firewall community, and you're in high school, 17, right? And Odessa's got something to say here. I want to hear it.
Well, in regards to the corporatocracy, it doesn't. Thinking nationally, like on the scale of their control in America, isn't really broad enough.
What isn't broad enough?
Like, we're thinking on too small of a scale.
How to
They
make changes, or who's the government thinking on too small of a scale?
Well, the government isn't thinking at all. They're being controlled.
Okay. Well, when you said that we're thinking, you mean like the movement, or just people in general?
I really think that, I don't know how much the movement's doing to reach out internationally.
Okay.
But that's very important because these corporations have their hooks in almost every country in the world. They're now getting their hooks into the UN and bypassing any major rights we have that they could not suppress because of laws and constitutions in many countries around the world. And I mean, sure, we can change, we can overturn, it's a bit of a stretch, the U.S. government, start everything over.
I have a question.
But
Hold on a second.
we have a question.
Okay, go ahead. Come on in. Come on in, Jen. You can't stand at the door.
Okay.
You're going to talk. You have to come all the way over here.
Why is it harder to overturn the U.S. government than it is the other governments of other countries? That it seems that, like the French and the Swiss, why are the people able to come together to overcome their governments? Why is it so hard here?
Well, a couple reasons. First, the most obvious one being size. In the United States is extremely large, and as such, we're often disconnected from people from other regions of the country because we see them as them, and they're different, and that is partially
within
true.
our
Yeah,
country.
within our country, they've grown up in a different community with different
So
values.
Okay.
But it is very subjective. We have to remember that they are. You have to reach out And other countries are better at doing that simply because they grew up as nations under principles that a lot of them encourage solidarity, not all of them, but there's a certain
more unity.
You don't necessarily aren't loyal to your government, but you're loyal to your fellow man.
Do you think that that's a benefit to the United States for us being able to have different types of people within our country?
To a point, yeah. But other countries have that too. They have vast differences in the different regions of their cultures, but they are willing to put that aside and bring themselves together. And I'm not saying that a lot of people aren't, but the United States was founded on colonialism, which is, if you see something you want, you take it for yourself, to get as much profit for yourself before anyone else can. You want to be the first one out there. You want to be the first one to settle, to stake your own claim in it. Not really big on community or, you know...
Not community focused.
Yeah, more profit focused, more... I guess, entrepreneurial, which is a good thing sometimes, but this country has constantly evolved and brought in new people staking claims for themselves, versus those other countries with governments have been around for a very long time, and they've developed a sort of unity and structure and recognition that they're their countrymen, and they're willing to work together in these movements to overthrow people who they think are oppressing them, whereas the United States is in a constant state of us versus them, the fluctuation, and they aren't capable of...
Well, it's the divide and conquer.
Yeah.
You know, you've got, here in the United States, they've got, I think, probably one of the most powerful tools at their disposal, which is the media. A lot of people are sucked into the media and the television, or just TV itself, entertainment. People are so sucked into it and watching it. I know people that have to watch their ER or their Fringe or whatever their TV shows, Dancing with the Stars. So
yeah,
what?
Fire's like that too. He hates television because he knows that if it's on and it's in the room, he will stop and he'll just watch it.
Oh, I get sucked into it too. I mean, but like,
and there's a little voice in the back of your head going, I really should be doing something more important right now, but it just sucks you in.
The only time that I let it suck me in, and the reason I say that I let it suck me in is because you have to allow yourself to do that. I'll sit there with people that are watching TV, but generally I will not sit and watch TV unless there is no other reason but to blankly stare at a tube projecting images on a wall, because it's not filling my head with any kind of information that I really need. It's a waste of my time. I could entertain myself playing a video game. I could go find a friend like you to play some cards with and maybe improve social interaction and things like that. I mean, I try to think outside the box.
Yeah, but what you said about the news networks, was a really good point. When I go look for news, I watch British news or French news.
The BBC.
Yeah, the BBC. Anything like that, because they're more honest, they're more open. They are news networks. They provide you with information you need to know. No, versus the media buyouts that we have here, they're not trying to tell us anything. They're trying to keep us from knowing. And that's not what journalism was founded on.
That's definitely not what journalism was founded on. I agree with you. It'd be nice to see a change in that, and the people that are actually on TV going, this is bullshit, and throwing it over their shoulder and saying, I can't read you this because it's bullshit and I quit my job. But that's not going to happen because they like their big house and,
Yeah.
Their fancy car and their diamond ring and their cell phone and their, I can't imagine newscasters work more than 8 hours a day. I mean, I don't know. I don't need to speculate on their
They
jobs.
do their filming,
you know?
and then
I mean, it's not like that's a hard job, and there's no reason why a newscaster or a doctor should make more money, one way or the other than, I mean, people that are of value and of good service should be able to make a decent, honest living. But I mean, you take a look at schooling now. By the time you graduate from college, it's going to cost you what? I mean, if you had to pay for school,
more than I'm gonna make for whatever I'm going into.
it would take you almost your whole life, or at least a good 10 years to pay that off. I shouldn't say your whole life. Well, going too far, but you're going to spend a lot of time working hard to pay off those student loans if you don't get a scholarship and the grants and stuff that you don't have to pay back, and then you still are going to need at least a master's degree in this day and age. But we're looking down the road, who's going to have jobs if all the water's poisoned and everything's robotically done? Who needs a job? Robots are doing it for us.
How are we going to earn our money?
I can't find a job now because, there's no factories here in the United States. There's not much construction going on. I mean, everybody's in a slump here. I don't care what kind of people. Oh, yeah, we're coming out of the recession. I'm sorry, depression. Bullshit. I've been looking for a job for 2 years now. I can't find anything that pays more than $8 or $10 an hour. And if then it's temporary, part-time, contract work, and you got to take a drug test, we'll call you in 2 weeks, and then, a bunch of loopholes. And by the way, most of your applications are online, so you never even talk to a person, and if you even have a felony, which I do, you'll never, ever get a job in this country ever again. At this point in time, I look for drones in the sky, and I'm like, when are they coming for me? Because I'm sure that they don't like me broadcasting, even though I'm only getting 7 to 50 viewers, I'm being rebroadcast, but I think that my words, at least recording them, talking like you, and putting them down, is worth it.
Yeah. Well, it is nice to think that they don't like what you're doing, but the honest truth...
I was followed. I don't know if they were CIA, FBI, or what. I know when I was at Occupy, I was followed. So am I still being followed? I don't know. I haven't seen any lately, but I feel safe and secure. It's a remote location.
Yeah.
We're good here. But the police here, as soon as they saw me, the police cruisers, they're like, that's a new guy in town, and they started following me and watching me. Every time you see a new guy in town in your little 500, 2,000 person town, you're going to be like, who is that guy? But stop and say hi. Don't be a pig and drive by with your dark tinted windows up in your nice Dodge Charger. Be like, hey man, how's it going? You're new in town. This is supposed to be like country bumpkin out here, right?
Yeah, everyone's real friendly.
Except for the cops. They haven't said hi to me yet. And I'm wearing a CIA hat. You'd think they'd at least stop and say hi to me.
Cops?
I'm just kidding.
Not as friendly in this town.
No?
No.
Well, I hear they're not as friendly in the next town over, but we'll leave the town names out of it so we can remain a secure location.
Oh, yes, yes. I have quite a few things to say about the cops in the next town over, actually, but let's do that another time.
Yeah, feel free. Are they, I made a short story. I posted it on the website about Jesse. Jesse. They got pulled over. I'll just tell this story real quick, and maybe if there's anything I missed, you can add on to it. But Jesse is, I'm just gonna say it, he's specially enabled. Some people say retarded, or what is another word? You got any other words for me?
I've always heard
maybe he has Down syndrome or something. They'll say like a disease that somebody might have. But anyway, Jesse is a fully capable person. He's, understands. He has a little bit of a slouch to him, right? And he stutters, stammers.
Yeah, but he's a perfect man.
And he doesn't do drugs.
Yeah.
He doesn't drink.
He's like, he's a
He's
straight-laced
perfect
guy.
He's like a straight A.
Yeah, decent,
straight
upstanding
arrow
guy.
guy. Yeah.
He's got a job. He's got a home.
And he's a little different, you know. So I mean, maybe he graduated a little later or something, or did he graduate? I don't know how well you know him, but I mean, he's in his 30s. He works a good job. What was it? Manufacturing or something.
Yeah,
and he supports his entire family because they're lazy, and they can take advantage of him. But the police pull him over for no reason, or was it a roadside sobriety? Just a random check.
Random check.
It was a random check. And they thought that he was drunk. And he was freaking out because there were, you know, a couple cops on him, and he's never really had to deal with this. He's a small town. And this is the next town over, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, he gets pulled over, and they arrest him for DUI because he refused to take
the blood test.
The blood test. And he'd already passed the breathalyzer with a 0-0. He'd already passed the breathalyzer.
He's afraid of needles.
Because he doesn't drink. He's afraid of needles. He wants to know what the government, these policemen, are doing to him. They want to take his blood. Are you kidding me?
He's what are you doing? What are you doing?
Right?
He wants to know.
So they cuff him and arrest him for not submitting to the blood test after he'd already passed the breathalyzer and a roadside sobriety test. You know, touch your nose, touch your finger, right? He got pulled over 2 more times.
Yeah, he got his license suspended
because the attorney that he paid
to make sure that the case was thrown out never did it. He just took his money.
The attorney didn't do shit. So talk about somebody being taken advantage of. You know, and then the court system, what do they do about it?
Nothing.
Nothing. He's got a DUI on his record, wasn't drinking. He has court cost fines and fees for something he didn't do. It's extortion of the people. Personally, if I was him, I wouldn't pay, but I'm not him, so. You know, and that's a sad story, which will bring me to something that we'll get to in the next broadcast. Did you have anything you wanted to close with? I was going to shut this down for about 20 minutes, take a cigarette break.
Not really.
Get a drink of water.
Getting detained because
Jesse? Or
NDAA.
I do not like those cops.
NDAA. Well, yes, we'll be coming back talking about NDAA and various other topics. Feel free to send in something to me at Occupy One Liberty on my Twitter. Email me occupyoneliberty@gmail.com, or check out the website independenttcitizenmedia.weebly.com. Feel free to join in the forum. I'm going to be checking all those feeds and communication points while I'm on break here to see if there's any topics that you would like to talk about. So that's where you'll be sending questions, comments, or concerns. Please, no bullshit. I'll just delete it. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Peace and solidarity. Love you guys, and we'll be right back.